Welcome back to another episode of Day to Day with Daidrien, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have with me not only a credit professional and serial entrepreneur, but an amazing father, Mr. Jason King.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. How are you?
I'm good. We finna cut up today.
Yeah, we finna cut up today, man. We go get us some trouble. It's a pleasure to have you back on the episode, though, man.
Yes,
The last video did pretty good. I was actually surprised by those numbers. I was not expecting to do numbers like that, but, you know, God always has a way of blessing people.
Yep. So this one, let's dive deep because I want to push the veil real hard today.
Okay, so I'm not gonna hold no questions back. I'm gonna get into it, man. I guess I'm gonna take this episode and not be afraid to be canceled or used against me later.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. You gotta become an enemy of the state.
You got to, man. You know, at least when you do that, you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
All right, man. You want to tell me about this this book, The Creature of Jekyll Island, man?
So this is gonna be a must read for most people in the United States. I don't care, you black, brown, whatever color you want to be. You need to read this book. You need to read it because now you got to understand the Federal Reserve. You have to understand the games that they're playing. You got to understand that it's a bigger picture than what we see as day-to-day natural humans. And I said that with a purpose, natural humans. We are essentially we're living in a game. And I say this all the time. Your quality of life really goes off of how you play the game. You done heard this in the movies, you done heard this everything, but you really have to understand how banks work.
Absolutely. And speaking of the Federal Reserve, and there's nothing federal about it at all, I want to get into some type of federal law. And that's what I'm gonna start this episode off with today. I'm gonna read you a piece of consumer law, and I wrote it down here. 603-15 USC 1681A. It says, any written, and look how crazy this is. Any written, oral, or communication of information by a CRA bearing or consumer credit worthiness, credit standing, credit capacity, character, general reputation, personal characteristics, or mode of living, which is used or expected to be used or collected in whole or in part for purpose of serving as a factor in establishing the consumer eligibility for credit to be used primarily for personal use. And I find that absolutely crazy that they have to go through all of those elements just to determine where your credit should be.
Well, when you look at this and when you go into consumer law, you have to understand the words. So when they saying personal use, they're not talking about human beings. When you look at the definition of person, according to consumer law, it's corporations, it's businesses. So we are the consumers. So they gather our information not on our behalf. Like TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, they just get our information. We never approved of it. When did you ever go in and say, hey, I want to put my information, my social security, my address, my name, where I work on your platform? You never talked to them.
Or signed anything.
So, when you looking at these type of things, they automatically coming up as fraud because they're doing stuff not on your behalf. They're actually acting on their own accord to put you in a situation to what you probably won't be able to excel. A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people, especially our people or the darker shades, black people, whatever you want to call it, we want to look at this mattress money, this dope game money, this type of stuff. We looking at celebrities and looking at them and not getting down to the bread and butter. We're not following the banks. If you want to understand how the money is being controlled, you need to follow the banks because they own debt. When you own debt, then you're gonna own wealth. So
and that's deep, following the bank. And I think, in order to understand how banks move, because they operate under different laws, you have, first of all, I didn't even understand this until probably 2 weeks ago, that you have air, water, and land, right? The three elements.
Three elements.
And they also have laws behind them. Trust law, which is air. And then you have consumer law, which is the law of the land. And then you have maritime law, which is the law of the sea, which is what we are governed under. And able to have these mandate laws held against us like this.
Yeah.
And it's treachery.
It's treachery and it's capitalism at the same time. So they want to be able to own everything but own nothing at the same time. So when something goes on, just like you see Donald Trump, when you see, it's a certain clip of Donald Trump saying, "You want to see my tax records? Cool. I'll show you my tax records." And you show me, he told Hillary Clinton, "Show me every last email that you sent out." Because if she would have done that, she would have uncovered every system of corruption that was in America. But he uses trust to his benefits. He uses the banks to his benefit. He's filed for bankruptcy so many times.
And I heard him say this once. He said, if I, borrow, a few million from the bank and I don't pay it back, I have a problem. But if I borrow a few $100 million from the bank, we have a problem. And in order to understand that, you would have to understand the fractional reserve lending system. Now, what these people are doing is taking your deposit, which is why you have to have a mandatory set limit in your bank account. You always wonder, why do I have to keep so much money in my bank account? Like, for instance, I think one of them, I believe, is, I'm going to use PNC, for instance. PNC has a minimum on one of my accounts. It's a minimum of $100. So theoretically, or, like, your account is at zero, because if you go below 100, you'd be charged bank fees.
Yes.
Now, why am I being charged bank fees for you to hold my money? And they take this money, right? And they lend up to what, 90%? They have 10% that stays in your account, and they lend up to 90%.
Yes.
For people who come and ask for loans. And then they take that money that they're giving them and put interest on it. So you benefit in no way whatsoever of the money they're lending out or the projects that they are investing your money into. And I found that crazy. All of us honestly should be getting a paycheck from almost every investment in the country.
Yes, we should. But when I told you, like I told you to get that etymology dictionary, understand what banks are. When you look at a bank, like a river bank, then you look at the money, which is currency. They're controlling the currency. So when you deposit money in there, they're keeping the currency going. So they have to trade your money back and forth and do all of that. But once you come there and you ask for the money, and if it's above $10,000, they have to go order the money.
I've been there, because I've asked them one time. I was like, hey, if I think anything above 5 to 10K, they was like, you have to call in advance. Yep. Why do I have to call in advance? I was getting you my money already.
Because a bank doesn't really have money in the bank at all. It's a whole bunch of smoke and mirrors. So this is the thing about that. So like, they give you two different cards when you go to a bank. They give you a debit card, and then they're gonna have you open up two accounts. They're gonna open up a savings, and you're gonna open up a checking. The saving account, they say that you bear interest in that account, but you really don't. You don't go anywhere until you get into CDs, bonds, and things like that. That's when your money starts to grow. But to truly have your money work for itself, you have to go into real estate. Because majority of banks own land and homes.
Yeah, and you can actually look that up. I remember you told me about a site, and you can go to the bank and you can look up how much assets they control, and how many people are in the bank, and
Yep.
I don't know if balance sheets was in there, but I do know that it was a lot of numbers that you can be used to dictate if this is a good bank to invest into. Obviously, the leading bank is Chase because they've been around the longest, and they're the most criminals.
Yeah,
Let's go put it like that. The biggest criminals, and it goes back to the Federal Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was doing some research on the House Joint Resolution Act, and I realized, well, okay, to backstep with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve came here in 1913.
Yeah.
Now, it's crazy because that is I don't think it was a year later after the Titanic sank.
Yeah.
So who was on that? I guarantee you, if that boat made it to America, would there be a Federal Reserve?
No.
And it's so now it's a real big conspiracy, but how ironically do these timelines add up?
Okay, so when you start putting the pieces together and you look at all of the stuff that actually happens, these events can't be per se just random occurrences. It's so much stuff that leads to one thing and leads to another. That's like one time I was watching a podcast. Your sister said something. If you keep hearing something, majority somewhere
there's truth behind it.
Truth behind it.
Mm.
So we have a lot of people in positions that have to cover up things. They have to, because if it gets out into public, then we're going to have mass hysteria. The biggest thing that they want us to do is be separated as a people. Even though we have so many violent acts and things go on, if you have both races, which side the majority and the minority come together, and we see that it's not the people that's causing the problem, but it's the banks and the government that's causing the problem. You're going to have outrage, and then they can't. There's no way that they can control it, because the U.S. military has roughly around 3 to 5 million people in there, and we got 350 million people in America. If we go bananas all at one time, it's a wrap.
Yeah, actually, now that you brought that up, I think the military, we have about 1 million active soldiers. Versus 300 plus million people.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are playing us against each other for some crumbs, and people don't really understand what's going on. And if you think about it, this is probably one of the reasons too, just one of my theories. If we was to work together against a common enemy, and we all know who that enemy is, then that enemy will have to tie all its resources in controlling the masses. Martial law and whatever they will have to implement to control the masses, which is us. Would that be a good sign for other countries to invade if that was the case?
But okay, so first of all, oh man, I think about this all the time. First of all, and I'm gonna say this with wholeheartedly, we are at our weakest right now as a country, because we're out of shape. We don't work together. We're constantly fighting amongst each other. Other countries can see that. They can see that. And with technology, we're behind. AI, you think AI is just getting to America, but in other countries like China and Korea and Japan,
oh yeah,
it's all listen, it's ridiculous. They're surpassing us on a level that we can't even imagine.
You know, I was reading an article, and the article was like, algorithms in other countries help educate their masses and their populations. Our algorithm is primarily focused on sex appeal of women.
Sex appeal and entertainment.
Sex appeal and entertainment, yeah. And like, because I've had an issue with that. One time I was on Instagram, and I got on my Explore page, and I seen nothing but women, and I got frustrated because I was like, what's going to motivate me? Like, there's nothing that I can learn from looking at an Explore page like that.
Nothing.
And I would go through, and it's crazy because I would go through and I would hit not interested, refresh, and it's back. And I did that so many times to where like when I go to my Instagram and I click on, you can see all the posts that you've been you hit not interested in, and it's a ton of these women, and I'm like,
I'm gonna tell you what you do. So this is what they call playing mind control. You can actually say something into your phone 3 to 4 times, and it'll pop up.
I've seen that.
It will
like
pop up.
I like, man, I was just talking about that.
Just talking about it. Like
Yeah, pop up.
I said something this morning. I was thinking, well, we need to scale. We need to scale the business. Scale the business. Scale the business. As soon as I said that, Sam card, Uscreen, all these platforms to use, so you can have a virtual school, pretty much just started popping up on my feed randomly. So these things, like, we have the technology to keep us under the veil. So as long as you don't really see what's going on, then you can't stop it. You can't stop the beast. It's a whole nother game. As long as we're constantly at war, constantly fighting, you should never listen to a celebrity. Never.
And it's crazy because now that you mention that, everybody will wait for a celebrity to do it. But it's somebody in your community, it's somebody that you know is already doing it.
It's already somebody in your community already putting in work. It's somebody already doing this stuff. It's somebody already got the skill set. But you wait to see somebody on TV that's doped up, drugged out, and doing every single thing against nature that you possibly can. Look at how they live their lives and how their lives end. Majority of celebrities always end with suicide, some kind of death, and all of their money is taken.
Addictions.
But we keep following this play on, I want to be famous. But once you get there, then you see the darkness in it. You've seen it with Kevin Hart. You've seen it with the Cat Williams. They are entertainers. We should not be looking at entertainers to give us financial advice, to give us life advice. We should not, because they're not coined into doing that. You look at their lives usually are in turmoil majority of the time.
And not only that, they have access to way better resources.
Yes.
Than what we have. Like, we don't have the money to go get these financial advisors to put us on game, or the money to be in these circles to learn, understand business.
But they do, and then check this out. They have the money, and they blow it. What I tell people, I saw a thing with Rick Ross on one of my feeds showing off a watch that he paid $20 million for.
20 million?
20 million.
Million.
Said it was one of a kind.
20?
20. This watch right here, this Apple Watch, this is the most expensive watch that you should ever have in your life. It takes your heartbeat. It tells you how many steps that you're going to make. It helps you set up calendars. It does everything you need it to do. This is the watch that you need. You don't need one of those watches with all that diamond encrusted stuff. What is that going to get you? If he keep eating chicken wings like that, he going to pass out. I'm just saying, he wasted $20 million. That $20 million could have been put back into the black community.
$20 million. He could have started a bank with that.
Exactly. So you see the propaganda and you see the smoke screen that they put out. Get your money wasted on cars and jewelry and drinking and food. That is the whole plan. And it's still being circulated. So
it's crazy, man. And to hear it and see it, and then to watch people who want to live up to that lifestyle is ridiculous.
But see, this the thing. What I had to do was look for real millionaires.
Yeah, and they're hard to find, and you can only find them if they let you in. They have to like you.
They want you. They want you to see them. They'll let you see them.
Yeah, they have to like. So, yeah, and that comes back to image of perception. And I've met a lot of millionaires working at Lifetime. Man,
they don't look like you think they do.
Man, them people. Those are the people with the money. People who walk around with regular T-shirts on, drive regular cars.
When I was
low key.
when I was working there, those 3 men that used to sit in front of me and get coffee and talk every day, all 3 of them were millionaires.
I remember. I think you know what you're talking about. They come in there every morning.
Every morning and sit down. All 3 of them were millionaires. One of them owned the Torchy's franchise right there in Kingwood. He owned the store. He said, "Well, I'm about to go to Torchy's." He go over to Torchy's every day to go to his store and see how it's doing, and then go home.
Right here right off Kingwood Drive.
Off Kingwood, but we don't see.
That's crazy how the owner of Torchies is walking right past you every day.
Oh no! He has
multiple Torchies.
So you thinking we sit here and we look at these celebrities? We have to. Who gave them the right to speak for our community?
That and no, not only that. It's crazy how celebrities and people don't even know this unless you are in one of those circles with millionaires. Celebrities, most of the people that I know have them as clients to help them make money.
Listen, my business partner's multimillionaire. He says, "Oh, I got celebrity clients that are broke."
NBA players, NFL players, entertainers, and I was like, "Man, that's crazy." And they don't even give recognition to those men who are doing it. And you think they're getting all this money from these deals, and it's really the person in our community helping them, but they don't get the light shined on them.
Yep.
And you only gonna know if you're talking to one.
And that's the thing. How many black billionaires do you see that are not entertainers? Not many.
Not many or none at all. I actually met this billionaire, and he accidentally told me, because he was like, "Man, I like you and I want to build a relationship with you." And he told me what he did and what he owned. One of his sensors, and he has over 100 of them, brings him $500,000 a month. And he has over 100 of them. When he told me one day, he walked in, he's like, "One day," he said, "I see myself in you. And one day you could," I think he said, "One day you have it in you to be a CEO and have over 38,000 employees." When he told me that, I was like, okay, who is this guy? And then he'd come in, he'd speak every day. And then I started going to church with him. He invited me out to church, and then I started talking to him, building a relationship with him, and that's when he told me. And he told me, he's like, "Listen, if you ever need systems, I'm your guy."
That's it.
And I'm like,
and that's how they listen, bro. Listen, man.
I was like,
what? There's so much stuff. Like, me being exposed to being around millionaires, it's insane, because the way that they think, the way that they dress, the way that they do, is totally different from what we have as entertainers. And not to get off topic, we're gonna touch back in on the credit, but these people are in plain sight. They don't wear fancy clothes. They don't do none of that type
off
of stuff.
The grid.
They literally, like, when I'm with my business partner, he told me, "Well, yeah, I don't drive a Rolls Royce. I don't do." He said it's a waste of money. He told me, what is the point? Who am I trying to impress? So you have to go back and you have to look at this. Meek Mills just put out a whole little podcast that he was doing, talking about how he had to speak in a different manner and towards people. And then the day before that, he was rapping and talking about murdering and killing people. So how can I take this man seriously? I'm like, it's just. And
speaking of that, that's his audience as well. People who want to be close to him will do those things, not knowing he's not even doing those things.
Yep. And that's the type of
game.
That's the type of game that we deal in. We out of a perpetual cycle of self-destruction, and we go back to the 1960s and 1950s. We were not even on that
at all.
We were not on that. Now we're in a ruckus of mayhem. It's just mayhem.
And that brings me to, speaking of older times, I want to get on this House Joint Resolution Act of 1933. I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to show you how we've been played against each other. So, in 1933, the House Joint Resolution Act suspended the gold standard to repeal the gold clause. The day after Roosevelt signed the resolution, the Treasury offered the public new government securities, minus the traditional gold. Okay? So, before I lose anybody, they're taking away living currency and replacing it with with notes. It's not even called money. It's called legal tender. It's called legal tender. And let me show you how they got around this. And look how crazy this is and how organized they had to do this in order to get around the Constitution. Okay. Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 forbids the states making anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment to making payments to debt. But this article does not contain an absolute prohibition against something else as legal tender and transfer of debt, aka government securities. Now, this is how they formally got around the construction of the Constitution. So you can stop giving us gold, and instead we can make something else a tender to pay debt.
Yep.
So how are we paying a debt with a debt?
You really okay? So
It's crazy. And to people who don't understand what government securities are treasury bills, bonds, notes, floating rate notes, treasury inflation protected securities, TIPS. Okay. All of these are forms of currency.
Remember in the beginning, I told you you're not making no real money with no bank until you start getting treasury, bonds, CDs, and things like that.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're looking at the dollar. The dollar is not backed by gold. It hadn't been backed by gold. This is why this book is important. So I'm glad you brought that up. So in this book, it's going to explain that they took the backing of the gold. Gold used to back the dollar. It doesn't back anything now. So we have a placebo dollar. We doesn't have it has no value. What does have value is credit. Credit.
It's your lifeline.
It's your lifeline. And people don't get it. So once you get your credit right and you start using it the proper way, this is why every billionaire, the first billionaire, use other people's money. OPM. They do not use their cash or liquid fiat money. What's the point? It's not real. What you're going to do is you can stack that money and then you get to a liquid amount. That liquid amount is just there for your leisure, just to make you feel better.
Yeah.
It's just there for you, playing. Because all you're doing basically is building up. You're going to get that tender, that money. When you spend it, it's gone. But what they want you to do, once you get over the $250,000, and then you use that with American Express. You get that much money, you spend $250,000 with American Express, you qualify for a black card. Now, once you got that black card and you can pay off, then you get an unlimited source of money. So that money that you have now that's building up, you just put it on the credit card. The credit card insures everything. Your debit card does not. Listen at what it's saying. Debit, loss, credit, gain. You understand. So now you understand.
The terminology.
The terminology.
They playing you.
It's a game. It's a treacherous game, and you have to understand. Once you get your credit, you need to use your business. You need to get to the business side. They're going to get you to the business side. The business side is for you. It's for you to scale. It's for you to do whatever you need to do. It's for you to take your business to another level. You have to get it.
And it also separates an LLC, and there's a Limited Liability Act of 1855. I have to read that again, but it separates you from consumer law. Well, it separates you from maritime law. Maritime law. And now you operate under consumer law.
And you will be protected.
You'll be protected, yeah. So, and I think a person too is also by definition a government entity. You know, and not only that, speaking of government entities, did you guys know that the United States of America has a DUNS number? Why do you have a DUNS number in your country?
Because the United States of America is a corporation.
Tell them one more time.
It's a corporation. This is a business running a business. We are considered cattle. We're not considered human beings. We're considered cattle. We're collateral. This is why the two richest places in the world is real estate and the funeral home.
You know, speaking of us being collateral, their greatest achievement can also be their greatest failure. Because if I'm collateral and I'm technically your property, am I responsible for my obligations legally? You know, so if I went to go get a loan, right, and you know how to discharge these loans because you're paying a debt with a debt, remember that. And also, we're property. Does that mean that I can discharge my debt and make the United States government pay for it?
Sure can. They supposed to be, basically, they supposed to be paying for it anyway. Anyways, because this is the greatest mind. Okay, so we pay an income tax. We paying for a tax that we did not take out. But the government is making us pay this tax on their behalf. We had nothing to do with this tax. So for black people, that makes we already were slaves because we built this country. Now to pay a tax that we did not take out and then we are forced to pay it, that's double slavery. So we double slaves.
Getting paid twice. They're getting paid twice.
They getting paid twice, and that even goes to your bills. When you look at your bills, you'll see on your bills, on your notes, you don't see a negative. You should see a negative on your phone bill or something like that, but you don't. You see a positive. So, wait a minute. If I got a positive tender, do I need to pay that? What do you mean? So why is AT&T sending me a bill with a positive tender? So you paying your bills twice.
Isn't the student loans a positive tender as well?
Positive tender.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you what to look. House Joint Resolution Act. And it also prohibits, so it prohibits payment of debt and substitutes. In its place, discharge of obligation, not only subverting, but totally bypassing the absolute prohibition. Now that the article has nothing to operate on, just like there's nothing for common law to operate on perpetual debt. In that law, jurisdiction, which belongs exclusively to the laws of admiralty and maritime.
It makes debt
fraud. This is how we lost access to common law, the very law the many men fought to regain. It's crazy.
Yeah,
they just switched it around like that.
They switch it around. This is why they have maritime law. This is why we have laws and we voting on stuff, and we're not even paying attention to what we're voting on when we go to the ballots. They put all type of stuff into the laws, and we hear the people that so-called speak for the black race, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons. They telling us to go vote for something that we have no control over.
At
all. So how is that going to matter? If the first thing we need to do is what Farrakhan says all the time. We have to separate and deal with our people first and heal our people before we can go back and go into business with anybody else and deal with this situation, because we have been in a system of self-destruction and we are not winning right now. We are not winning. You can look at this as redlining. You can see redlining in here when we want to get houses. You will hear Grant Cardone. You'll hear a whole bunch of people say, "No, rent." What does he own? Real estate. What do you own, bruh? You telling me not to get a house, not to own land, not to put my land in a trust where you can't get it back,
but to give it to you.
But you telling me to go rent something from you and you don't even
scam.
So you got to understand this. We need ownership. The quickest way to wealth is real estate. But you have to understand how to get real estate. Texas right now is the biggest state. It's so much land in Texas, they haven't even uncovered it. Why are you not trying to buy it?
You know, I just found a property. We just found a property actually right down the street from the university for $1.6 million, and they want 50 acres.
Mm-hmm.
Put some houses on that.
It's a wrap.
It's over with.
That's how you
rinse and repeat.
And that's how you control debt. Somebody got to do it. You might as well have people with righteous intent do it.
I want to read you this code real fast. 15 USC code 1692H, multiple debt. I think this is in the Fair Debt Act. It says, if any consumer owes multiple debt and makes any single payment to any debt collector with respect to such debt collector may not apply such payment to any debt which is distributed by the consumer, and where applicable shall apply such payment in accordance with the consumer's directions. That's heavy.
Yeah, so if you pay a debt, basically what they're saying, if you paying on a debt, they can't put that on your credit. And you can force them to take it off. And if they don't want to listen, you can go to U.S. Code 15 USC
1692H.
No, 1681N.
Okay.
Willing for non-compliance.
Oh yeah, I haven't got to that one yet.
Yeah, because they do that. It's like U.S. Code 1681N is willing for non-compliance. That's where you will be able to sue them because they know they have knowledge of it.
And doing it to you anyway.
And they doing it anyway. That's like, so guys, when y'all going through credit repair, if your credit is messed up, please reach out to me, find me, or I can help repair your credit. Get it repaired. Get it fixed. Because what you're doing just by sitting there letting it be bad, you're not gonna be able to get a house. You're gonna get high interest rate on cars, on your light bill. Everything is gonna go by credit. They're gonna start asking you for credit for life insurance soon. And when they pull in that, so they're gonna raise your interest rates. So you see how the game go?
I think they were actually already doing that for the personal side, because I was reading the law and it was like you can be disapproved for an insurance policy based off your. It's ridiculous, man. You
can get disapproved based off your credit score. You can lose a home, even if you have the money, based off your credit. You'll be it's insanity. It's insanity. They use that as a tool to keep you
where you are, and get the most from you.
And they keep draining out.
This is how the rich get richer.
And that's how the rich get richer. You should be looking in ways of owner financing. If y'all don't know, look at hard money lenders. Find a way to get homes at cheaper rates. That's what I'm doing right now. Getting a home at a cheaper rate. I found a home right now way cheaper.
way cheaper than where you at right now. And it's a house. Man.
4-bedroom, 2-bath. For $1,000. Because I did what my $1,000. Because I did what my mentor told me to do.
Man.
And so this is what I'm saying. Y'all have to find a way to get your stuff together. Because once you have it together and then you able to move the right way, the sky's the limit. The game, to me, is to go to places to where your money lasts longer. Taiwan, Bali, Peru, places where the U.S. dollar converts, and instead of you having $100,000,
you got $250,000. You got $750,000. You got millions.
You have millions.
You know, That's pretty much the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And would you recommend setting a system up here in America,
Yes.
putting that system into a trust, and paying yourself a
Owner's draw.
or is that the same thing as a management fee?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to get out the country.
Yes. Once this is the powerful thing about the internet. The internet has given you access to create your own products, your own digital products. That's what I do. I have courses, ebooks, and things like this. You can get on these apps and monetize. They used to do the monetization for Facebook and Instagram, but they're losing right now. But on TikTok, you can get a creator profile just by getting views on your videos. You can get up to $2,000 to $3,000, like we're doing right now. YouTube, learn the monetization, the keys to this. Once your videos go viral, they'll pay you. They will pay you. But have a digital product. Have something that you can sell. Do not be a consumer, be a supplier. So I'm supplying people with information that they don't have. And many people, as I've tried to help get funding and they do it themselves, they literally destroy themselves before they should. I tell people all the time, when you're going for funding or you're looking at your bank or your profile, you can have 6 months to 10 years worth of age on your credit profile. If you have 10 years plus, you're good. If you got a $20,000 credit limit on a card, you're good. You have 100% payment history, no derogatories, no charge-offs, no late payments, and you got 2 inquiries. Guess what time it is? Go get you a LLC, set it up, and let's go run this funding. Get that bag.
So what is the most you can get somebody with a normal credit, or is average credit score above 680 or 650, 680? 680 is recommended, right?
680 is recommended. I prefer like a 720, 750.
Okay.
But majority, the most I've gotten somebody is 500K.
Okay.
The minimum is around maybe 80K.
So but I know what to do with that 80K. If you know what to do with that 80K, it's still a lot of money. It's still a lot of money. So
It's still a lot.
So you recommend people to repair their credit or get their credit repaired. So one, you can start living on better interest rates and start living your life extremely better and better deals. And then transition, because credit seems like the lifeline to your business side, and your business side has no cap.
No cap.
It has no cap. And to run the funding play.
Yes, run the funding play. Learn how to get other people's money. So this is the game. So everybody's telling, like I'm gonna touch on Grant Cardone again with this foolishness about y'all renting. Okay, every year that you live in an apartment, the next year the rent goes up.
Yeah, it's not fixed. Like it can go up.
It's not fixed.
That's crazy.
So when you have a home, it's fixed. It's a fixed rate. So you can do a 15 to 30 year, whatever you want to do, or you can be smart, put your money into your LLC name and then run it, because you can do all types of things. I know people that are making $300,000 a month just by digital products, and these products are simple to make. So my goal is to get people out of the mindset of like I tell D all the time. I say, hey, you better start putting links in the bottom of these YouTube videos from Amazon. Become an Amazon affiliate. Show all of the information, the lighting, the things, all of the stuff that you need to do a podcast in your description. Once you do that, people click on it, buy it, cha-ching, money go into your pocket.
Instant cash flow.
It's so many ways for y'all to get paid. Y'all can use Amazon FBA. Amazon fired half of their employees, and they're letting people do FBA for them. eBay, Etsy, all of these products, all of these places are somewhere that you can sell digital products.
What do you think a person should structure their company on in order to fight the upcoming competition of AI? Like, what like, what is if somebody was to start an LLC, right? Because many people, and the hardest part of any of this, ladies and gentlemen, the hardest part of any of this is structuring your LLC correctly and knowing what you want to do. Those are the two hardest things that you're gonna have to do. You figure those out, and we'll take it from there. So, what do you think it'd be a good investment? Like somebody who wants to join the LLC, right? What do you recommend them to structure their business off of?
Well, I would say like a consulting or a teaching platform.
Okay.
Because that's gonna give you a bang. That's gonna give you a bang for your buck when it comes to you're getting funding. So either that or marketing. Now, under your LLC, you can put a DBA, a doing business as. So in each LLC, you can do a doing business as. So you can venture off into other businesses under one business. Or you can go ahead and take that one business and take it to a S corp, and then you can put your S corp and the other LLCs under your S corp. So then you're pretty much in control or in jurisdiction over those. So once you do that, now the fields that you need to go in to combat AI, plumbing, electricians, constructions. Well, I won't say construction because I already seen some
3D printing. Can you like? That's ridiculous. I never seen that coming.
Yeah, but
you can get your house printed.
3D printed. Watch what they do to the education system. Watch what they do to the education. They already gave a trial run with the pandemic. What do they need teachers for?
Man, I believe, speaking of teachers, every student has learning styles, right? And we in the pandemic, we also seen how valuable teachers are because scores dropped dramatically.
But just the thing about that, the scores dropped, but was it less turmoil or more turmoil? Was it more of a controlled environment? Literally, you sitting in your living room.
Yeah.
It was more controlled.
Yeah.
No teachers having to get up, tell the children to sit down. No teachers having to fight and fuss with kids. They'll put that platform in play first. Then let's see if we can do a robot to do their job. Let's program the person that we want to teach them and see how they'll teach them.
You know, that just reminds me now to get rights over your likeness.
Because what is that? What is AI? What'll be the benefits of an AI teacher? It don't get sick. It don't argue. It's never late from work. It doesn't eat. It
doesn't need to be paid.
Doesn't need to be paid. You telling me it's coming,
man?
So y'all
feel bad for this generation.
Listen, I don't because this is the thing. This generation is coming up.
In technology?
And technology is going to be a massive wave. Now, if they take it and they excel with it, that's the problem. Because right now we have people that are just mindless. They just mindless. They don't know what to do. Like when you talk about finding your purpose is not working at a burger joint. Your purpose is not sitting down and let people talk to you crazy and do all that stuff. Your purpose is deeper than that. So you have to go into a survival mode. That's why y'all see me all rough and rugged right now. Last time y'all see me clean, but right now
I've been ducking and dodging, man. I've been ducking and dodging.
I'm in beast mode because I'm going and I'm putting everything I got into my business.
Yeah.
So that's how it majority of millionaires and billionaires are entrepreneurs because they have taken the steps that they need to fail and push forward. Yes, AI is something different. It's a whole nother ball game, but we can look at China to see where AI is going to go.
Man.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on right now. We worried about the superficial things.
We worrying about
things that don't even matter.
We have podcasts out here talking about relationships and this, that, and the third. I'm not worrying about my relationship. Hey, I'm worrying about, hey, am I going to be able to even eat or afford to eat in the next couple of months because of the inflation? Just the hike went up. It's another hike coming.
What do you know about the national debt ceiling? I think I've heard that we hit that.
Listen, I watched the
And,
news.
and does that mean they're not printing any more money?
They're never going to stop.
Yeah, they're never going to stop doing that.
Listen, the national debt ceiling is pretty much this. We overextended as a country. We're overextended. We have too much debt to other people. We have too much debt to other people. We have what they call super bubbles. George Soros, he talks about this. They have one. We got 3 that we should be looking at. Well, 2 that we should be looking at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Housing market and the student loans. Because when they pop, it's a wrap.
You know, every time student loans come up, and it always slips my mind to bring this up, but I did not know that people were taking out student loans to feed their families and pay their rent.
Yes.
And pay their car notes.
Yes.
Dude, that opened my eyes up. I found that out like I want to say 2.5 weeks ago.
That's insane.
It is insane. People are taking out student loans to survive. Not even to go to school, to survive.
But this is the thing. When you have an economy that's not being governed the correct way, we have risen so many different taxes. How are we supposed to survive?
Yeah.
It's 7%. I got a car outside. It's 7%. My note is 7%. It's $789.99. It shouldn't be. If I would have got that car 2 years ago, my car note would probably be like $400.
I see why you don't want no more car notes.
Now you see. Because it's everything is a game to strip you of money.
I wrote this down, and for the people in relationships, I think this would be extremely beneficial if we can just understand this. And I just came across this, as I continue to grow and become more self-aware and better my self-development. When America believed in agriculture, they believed in extended family, okay? Extended family is pretty much everybody and then your grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? Because who's going to work those fields, right? Besides your family, girlfriends, sons, daughters, all working the fields. And then when America believed in industrialism, the factories, they believed nuclear family. Nuclear family is husband, wife, kids.
Children.
Right. So when the husband go to work, this is where the traditional comes in at. People get this misconstrued all the time. When the father goes to work, the mother stays behind to raise the kids. Okay. And then check this out. When America believes in the new world, computer technology, then America believes in single parent family. So when the economy changes, the family structure changes. This also means it's more than love and relationships. So when the economy, they had more than a reason to. It was more than love that had to do with the relationship. They had an economic reason to stay together.
I'm going to tell you, like Mr. Richard told me, think bigger. Listen to what you just said from the family dynamic. One, the whole entire extended family, nuclear family, technology family. Each one has lessened the population. That's population control. Less and less people are going to be.
And now you're moving families from the household, fathers from the household. The structure changes. It's crazy how they're playing. This is how they playing you against each other, just like this.
That's it.
We need economic reason to stay together, and it's not just about love, And it's a tough pill to swallow.
It can't be, but this is the thing. Like I said, the key is separation. We have to figure out as a people, how can we heal and then grow? Because right now, yeah, we still manufacturing people. that's I'm gonna say it like this, but like some of these people are not even people; they zombies. They drugged out, they murderers, killers. We got more people out here with full-blooded aggression and not wisdom and understanding.
Or just throwing their life away because they have no.
They crashing out.
They don't know what's out there.
Don't know what's out there. Don't know how to get from A to B.
And don't know the person they can become. But they idolize these celebrities, and this is what happens.
This is what happened. This is the society that we live in. This is America with the 3 Ks.
That hit me late. That hit me late. Oh, man. Absolutely, man. I think we covered a lot today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring a book next time.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about that book. What I want to get in, I want to read it first, just so I can have a conversation. Because, like, consciousness, I'm, like, right here, right? And then, like, consciousness is, like, up here. So I'm continue to learn from you. I continue to learn from you every time I talk to you, and I really appreciate that. And giving me advice and pointing me in the right direction. Yeah. Because many men don't really have that.
Bro, you want to know what? It's 2 women that put me on this consciousness trip. One, I ain't gonna mention their name, but they'll know who they are. But one of them, I spent a real. I would say.
I think I know.
Nah, you don't know her.
No,
nah, you don't know.
Okay.
Her. But we had a real deep dive into like spirituality, and it helped me unravel a lot of things about myself.
Was this about the one with you taught me about limerence?
No.
I think you should. I mean, you should actually tell them what that is.
Limerence. Well, we'll get on the subject when we have.
Okay, when we come back.
Well, we're gonna have a talk about relationships and men and things like this. But you got to finish that book that I told you to read.
Okay.
And for men, let me tell you, this is a book. What's the name of it? Superior.
The Way of a Superior Man.
The Way of a Superior Man. If you can't, I would suggest that you get an audio book and listen to it because we ingest things better, audio wise. Males do. You can get the book, but I would suggest you get an audio book and listen to it, or go on YouTube and listen to it. It's 5 hours till you go to sleep. Listen to it till you go to sleep, and then wake up and listen to it again. It'll put your mind in a different mindset on how we approach things. If I would have known some of the things that I know now, I would have went different ways in my life.
And I want to add, if you read that book, then I would honestly suggest that you have a healthy relationship with a masculine energy, because if you don't, you are not going to take that book and use it as constructive criticism. You won't take the message from that book. So it's very important that you have a healthy relationship with the masculine energy. So as far as your father or a brother, somebody you can receive constructive criticism about yourself, because that book is going to tell you about yourself. So it's a great book, and I do recommend that you read it. I'm still currently reading it, and I will finish that book so that I myself can become more of a superior man, more consciousness, and be there and show up for everybody and show up for myself, more importantly, and be a more authentic man for the woman that I decide to be with. So.
Yeah, that's it, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all go get this book. Go get this book. Y'all stop playing around. If y'all need any help, y'all reach out to me on Instagram with your credit. If y'all need help setting up your LLC, all of that type of stuff, reach out to us. You know, Daidrien gonna put some stuff in his
by the descriptions. I got some links to add to my descriptions.
Yeah, colognes, suits, all type of stuff. I'm gonna make sure he put that on his execution list, put in there, so y'all can tap in and see how he get fly throughout the week.
I appreciate that, man. I really do. Well, that concludes our message for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate your time and attention. You guys have a great day.